Hello everyone, and welcome back to Sports Talks. My name is Jonah. I'm sorry this video is getting to you so late. I was going to try to upload last week, but last week was finals week for us, and for those of you who have been through finals week, you know that there's not a whole lot to do outside of studying and preparing for tests. So we're going to do it now. I was going to do it earlier today, but it escaped my mind. So we'll do it now at 2 in the morning. Anyway, again, you'll notice the black screen. I'm just going to try to do that for this episode and the next episode and try to do something different, whether it's actually having my face on camera or just having pictures in the video with what I'm talking about. So we'll experiment a little bit, but it's 2 in the morning right now, like I said before, so I don't really feel like experimenting with that right now. As far as this video goes and topics, I'm going to cover the same 3 sports that I did last time, that being college football, the NFL, and UMD Men's hockey. The majority of this video will be spent talking about the NFL, with playoffs coming up and the regular season wrapping up. And then at the end of the video, I'll do a brief discussion on UMD Men's hockey. They're not playing right now, so I'll talk a little bit about the 5 players from our team playing at the Junior World Championships. But we will start off with college football. The biggest thing to talk about in college football these last few weeks have been the award winners. The big one, the Heisman Trophy, which is awarded to the best player in college football, was handed out to Baker Mayfield, the quarterback out of Oklahoma, sorry. That makes a lot of sense. The other 2 candidates were Bryce Love out of Stanford and, Lamar Jackson out of Louisville, who's a quarterback, who actually won the Heisman Trophy last year. I believe the big reason that Mayfield won was the success of their teams. As I said in the last video, Oklahoma is in the college football playoff. They'll play Georgia on New Year's Eve day. And then Louisville and Stanford both had pretty good seasons. They both had winning records, but definitely didn't get as far as Oklahoma. So I think that had a big part of it. And Mayfield was definitely one of the best players in college football all season. It'll be interesting to see where that puts him in the draft. I'll definitely talk more about the draft when that approaches, but as of now, we're still a few months away. As far as mock drafts go, I've seen him going anywhere in the later rounds to teams like New Orleans, who's playing really well right now, and I'll talk about that in a little bit, or early in the draft to a quarterback-needy team. So that'll be interesting. The other 2 big award winners were Saquon Barkley, running back out of Penn State. He's a do-it-all running back. If you've watched Penn State, then you'll know what I'm talking about. If not, you can YouTube him and see this absolute beast who can catch and receive and break tackles and do all that fancy stuff, even return kicks. I believe he had a kickoff return for a touchdown against Indiana, which was pretty cool. He'll definitely go top 5 in the draft. There's no doubt about that in my mind. It just depends on where. And then the other big winner was Mika Fitzpatrick, a cornerback/safety out of Alabama. He'll definitely be one of the top prospects at his position, whichever one he decides to choose. Don't know where that'll be as far as like rounds go. Probably definitely in the first round, but where in that round I do not know. So that's it as far as college football goes. So we'll move on to the NFL. And being a Packers fan, I'll talk about them first. As sad as it is to say, our season is over. We are officially eliminated, losing to Carolina, and then Atlanta beat Tampa Bay. And that officially eliminated us. The first time in 8 or 9 years that we did not make the playoffs. It was a good run while it lasted. Only 1 Super Bowl though, which is kind of disappointing. But anyway, the best we can do now is play spoilers. We still have 2 games left against Minnesota and Detroit. Minnesota is going to the playoffs regardless, since they clinched the division this last week. But we can still try to get them down to the wild card round instead of them having a bye. And then we play Detroit the last week of the season at Detroit. And they're still vying for a wild card spot. So maybe if they're still vying for a wild card spot at that time, then we can hopefully knock them out and prevent them from going to the playoffs. As far as playoffs go, Philadelphia and Minnesota still have the top 2 seeds. So they'd get first round byes. I forget as off the top of my head who has home field advantage at this point. It still remains to be seen as there are 2 games left. A few weeks ago, Carson Wentz, the quarterback for the Eagles, who is probably one of the MVP frontrunners, tore his ACL against Los Angeles. Last week, the Eagles played the Giants in New York, and Nick Foles came in, and he actually had a really good game. He had 4 touchdowns, but that was against the Giants, who have been just god-awful this year. So it'll be interesting to see if he can do that in the playoffs and carry them forward. They definitely have a talented enough team to carry, to go far without having their quarterback play well. But in the end, you do want a quarterback to play well during the playoffs. Anyway, as far as the rest of the NFC goes, there are a bunch of teams playing really well, like New Orleans, Carolina. St. Louis just beat Seattle like 47-7 in Seattle, which is even more impressive. So this just revamps my enthusiasm for the playoffs. I think it's going to be a really entertaining few playoff games, especially in the wild card. I believe as of now it'd be St. Louis hosting Atlanta, and then New Orleans hosting whoever the other wild card is, who I can't remember off the top of my head. It might be Detroit. It might be. I forget. Yeah, I forget. But it'll be very entertaining. Out of the NFC, I still have Minnesota representing the NFC in the Super Bowl. I think Philadelphia definitely could give them a challenge, but with a backup quarterback who doesn't have a whole lot of playoff experience and potentially playing on the road if they don't get home field advantage, that'd be interesting. I think if Philadelphia does get home field advantage, then I would pick Philadelphia potentially, but I think Minnesota will get it, and with a chance to play a Super Bowl in their home stadium, I just can't pass on the Vikings at that opportunity, or that game. As far as AFC goes, I think it might be a little bit closer than what I once thought. Pittsburgh and New England played this weekend. They're the top 2 teams in the AFC, and there was a really close game. New England ended up winning 24-21, but not without a controversial ending. They took away a touchdown for the Steelers. There was a whole bunch of speculation on that. If you want to know what I'm talking about, just look it up on YouTube. But yeah, I think I still have New England coming out of the AFC. I think Pittsburgh, if Pittsburgh does get home field advantage somehow, I think they could give New England a run for their money. But with New England at home and with Tom Brady, he was arguably the best, if not one of the best quarterbacks of all time, especially in the playoffs with 5 Super Bowl wins. That's hard to beat. My dark horse in the AFC right now is Jacksonville. They've also been playing really well. Their defense has been on fire. They definitely have the best secondary in the NFL at the moment. So if they can continue to play well, then maybe they could give the Patriots or the Steelers a run for their money, which would be fun to see, because the Jaguars definitely haven't been doing very well these last few years, outside of this year. Speaking of not doing very, very well, I want to give a quick shout out to my friend Joseph, who is a Bears fan, and the Bears are at the bottom of the NFC North right now. Fortunately, they'll get a high enough draft pick, but I just want to give him a quick shout out for continuing to be a Bears fan during this very unfortunate time for the Bears. Let's see. I think that's it as far as the NFC goes, or for the AFC. I think I already said this, but I do have New England coming out of the AFC. And as far as Super Bowl goes, if it came down to Minnesota and New England, I don't know, that'd be tough. Because at one hand, Minnesota would have home field advantage in a Super Bowl, for crying out loud. But on the other hand, the Patriots have Tom Brady. Thinking this, at this moment, I would say Minnesota, just based on home field advantage. But that remains to be seen. Definitely a few weeks now. And I'll definitely be talking more about the playoffs in future videos. Anyway, going on to men's hockey, UMD men's hockey to be specific. It is break right now, so there aren't any games going on, but we do have a few players participating at the Junior World Championships for Team USA, and those 5 include the Anderson brothers, Mikey and Joey, Riley Tufte, Scott P., I can't pronounce his last name, and then Dylan Sandberg. They did have their first game tonight. They won 14-0. I know Riley Tufte had a big game. He had 2 goals and 2 assists, which is fun to see. And then other big news, Joey Anderson was awarded the captain, or was named the captain for that team, which is fun to see. because I know he was on it last year when they won gold against Canada in overtime. So hopefully they can continue to do well, and when those guys come back, provide a spark for our team. I'll definitely have a tough test right away. Our first series back is against North Dakota, who is currently, I think, in the top 5. If not the top 5, definitely the top 10. So it'll be a good series. And it's at home, fortunately. So hopefully we can give them a good series, like we did Denver. Except hopefully win this time. Anyway, that is it for this week's episode. I might upload next week since I am on break. Depends on what's going on in the sports world and what I want to talk about. If not next week, then definitely the week after that. I want to thank you for tuning in to now almost 11 minutes of me just talking. Like I said, next time I upload, I'll do something a little bit different. Try to make it a little bit more entertaining than just listening to my voice and staring at a black screen. But anyway, thank you for listening if you've made it all the way through. If you haven't checked out my first episode, definitely go check that out. Leave a like and subscribe if you want to, if you're new. It's fun to say that now that I have a YouTube channel, like other YouTubers do it. Alright, well, that is the end of this episode. Thank you very much for listening in. If you're still on break, or if you're on break yet, have a good rest of your break. If not, then have a good rest of your break whenever that ends. That sounded weird. But I'm going to sign off now. So I'll see you guys later, and thank you again. Bye.